The sky over Earth was dark, not from night but from the shadow of alien ships. Thousands of massive black vessels floated above Earth's atmosphere. Their shapes were sharp, cold, and deadly like knives made from dark steel. At the center of this terrifying armada was the largest ship, the Dominion's Hand. It was the size of a small moon. Inside its command bridge stood General Zyril, leader of the Zark Dominion's elite invasion fleet. His skin was pale blue, his eyes sharp and cold like ice. He had conquered 9 planets in 7 years. He never lost, and now he looked down at Earth, expecting victory. "Humanity is weak," Zyril said calmly, his voice echoing in the silent chamber. "Their weapons are old. Their fleets are few. This planet will fall before the next rotation." The other alien officers nodded. Their scanners showed no real resistance, no global shields, no advanced satellites, no warships in orbit, just an empty blue planet. "Begin landing operations," Zyril ordered, but his second-in-command commander, Vrel, paused. "Sir, the planet is too quiet." Zyril raised a brow. "You fear silence?" "No, General, I fear traps." The room went still, but Zyril smiled. "Even if there is a trap, we are ready. Deploy ground teams." Moments later, drop pods launched from the underbelly of the alien ships. Thousands of them shot toward Earth like falling stars. They pierced the clouds and landed in abandoned human cities with thunderous force. The Zark soldiers stepped out in perfect formation. Their armor glowed faintly, powered by advanced plasma cores. They moved through empty streets New York. London, Beijing, all were silent. Too silent. Skyscrapers were damaged, some collapsed. Cars were left on roads. Stores were broken, but there were no bodies, no blood. No signs of panic. "Where are the humans?" one soldier asked, looking around nervously. "No life signs within 10 kilometers. Another replied, scanning the area. Commander Vrel, monitoring from orbit, frowned. "General, it looks like these cities were evacuated." Zyril turned from the screen and looked out the large glass window toward the planet below. "Evacuated? Without any resistance? It's like they knew we were coming." Vrel whispered. Suddenly, static filled the comms. "Echo Squad reporting. Crackle. Movement underground. Crackle, not human. Crackle, what is that? Silence." Zyril clenched his jaw. "What just happened?" "Lost contact with Echo Squad, sir. They were in what humans called Chicago. Send a scout drone." The screen flickered as the drone flew over the ruined city. Dust swirled through empty streets. Suddenly, it stopped. Below, in the middle of a cracked highway, stood a figure 10 feet tall, metallic. Its body was thick and armored, no eyes, no mouth. Just a glowing red core in the center of its chest. "A machine. Zoom in," Zyril said. The drone adjusted. More machines appeared rising from the ground. They crawled out from tunnels, broken buildings, even from under lakes and rivers. Hundreds, then thousands. "What are those?" Vrel whispered. The machines looked up. And the drone feed went black. Then the screams began. One by one, Zark ground teams reported attacks. Their weapons barely scratched the enemy. The machines moved like beasts, fast, silent, brutal. In Berlin, a squad was torn apart in seconds. In Tokyo, soldiers ran into buildings for cover, only for walls to explode as machines smashed through them. In Cairo, an entire platoon vanished without a sound. Only blood was found. "General," a communications officer shouted, "our forces are being destroyed. These machines, they're everywhere." Vrel said, panic rising in his voice. Zyril turned cold and calm. "Then send in air support. Bomb the entire area." "Yes, sir." Bombers launched from the fleet. They dropped heavy plasma bombs on cities, hoping to wipe out the machines. But when the smoke cleared, The machines still stood. Even worse, they were adapting. Now. They began using pieces of destroyed Zark armor, fusing them into their bodies. They were learning. Zyral's hands tightened into fists. This isn't random. This is war. These machines were waiting. But why? Vrel asked. And then, something even stranger happened. One of the machines walked into an open space and stopped. It raised its arm. A small device unfolded from its wrist. A screen. A message appeared, written in perfect Zark language. You came uninvited. Now you will not leave. The screen exploded. Silence returned to the bridge. Zyral turned slowly. Pull. All teams back. I want every soldier back in orbit now. But sir, now. He barked. Ships began retrieving surviving troops. The ones who made it back were shaken, bloody, many wounded. Some couldn't even speak. One soldier, eyes wide with terror, kept repeating, "Not machines, not machines. Monsters, monsters." Zyral watched through the glass as Earth rotated below. It looked beautiful, calm, peaceful, but he now understood it was a mask. A trap. Earth had set a stage, and the Zark had walked right into it. "General," Vrel said quietly, "should we prepare the fleet for a full-scale planetary assault?" Zyral shook his head. "No. Then what do we do?" The general narrowed his eyes. "We learn." He pointed to the communication division. "I want all Earth records. Their history, their wars, their technology, everything. There's something we don't know. Something they hid." Vrel hesitated. "But sir, why would a weak race hide such powerful machines underground?" Zyral looked him straight in the eye. "Because they never wanted to use them." 12 hours later, deep orbit, the Dominion scanners picked up something strange. From deep underground far beneath the Earth's crust, another signal. Pulsed. Not a machine. Not human. Something else. Older. Bigger. Hidden. General Zyral stood alone on the bridge, staring at the data. The signal wasn't just strong, it was intelligent. He whispered to himself, "What are these human monsters?" It began with a low rumble. At first, Zark soldiers thought it was just aftershock from their plasma bombs. But the ground kept shaking. Dust fell from ruined buildings. Roads cracked open like paper. The sound grew louder, deep, slow, heavy. Like something huge moving far below the surface. General Zyral watched the tremors from orbit. His sharp fingers tapped the edge of the control panel. "What now?" he muttered. Commander Vrel turned pale. "Sir, our seismic scanners show movement under the planet's surface. It's not natural." "Explain." Vrel stared at the screen. "There are tunnels, sir. Massive ones. They're old. But something is moving through them." "How many?" "Thousands, maybe more." Suddenly, on one of the viewing monitors, a live drone feed showed a broken city square. A large crack split open the street. Then something climbed out, a metal shape, humanoid, 10 feet tall. Thick limbs, plated armor, glowing red core in its chest. Its head was round and featureless. No mouth, no eyes. Then another rose beside it, and another. Within seconds, the square filled with dozens of them. "Are they the same as before?" Zyral asked. Vrel zoomed in. "No, sir. These are bigger. More advanced." The machines stood silently for a few seconds. Then all turned at the same time, facing the drone above. They didn't fire. They didn't move. They just stared. And the drone exploded. Earth Surface Private Zayler, a young Zark soldier, was hiding inside the ruins of a school building. His unit was gone. Torn apart by the first wave of machines. He could hear them outside. Their footsteps were loud, metallic, inhuman. They didn't talk. They didn't shout. They just hunted. Then something strange happened. The ground under the school started to shake. Xal, or backed away. "Not again," he whispered. The floor cracked. Then a giant black fist punched through the concrete. A mechanical hand, Zaylor screamed and fired his plasma rifle. The bullets did nothing. The hand grabbed his leg and pulled him down. He vanished into darkness. Orbit. Dominion's hand. We are losing all ground contact in Sector 12, 14, and 19, a tech officer reported. General Zyril didn't speak. He was staring at a large display showing Earth. Red dots blinked across the planet. Locations of awakened machines. More were appearing every minute. What is the origin of these machines? He asked. Vrel was already digging through stolen human files. Sir, we found an old archive. From something called Project Black Core. Show me. The screen opened. A human voice, female, played over fuzzy footage. If you're watching this, that means we failed. We hoped we'd never need the Black Core protocol. We built these things not as weapons, but as prison guards. Footage showed the same. Machines rising from underground labs, humans controlling them with strange headgear, giving silent orders. These machines are meant to fight one thing, something old. Something even we didn't understand. But if they activate without us, then it means that it is coming back. Or worse, someone woke it up. Zyril narrowed his eyes. They weren't designed for us. No, sir, Vrel said quietly. They were built to stop something far worse. Zyril took a deep breath. And now they're using them on us. Earth to 300 miles from Ground Zero's our Commander Felloc led 300 soldiers through an abandoned mining area. Trying to regroup. Suddenly, his foot hit metal. He looked down. A giant round door, covered in dirt and rust. It had human warning signs. On it, written in many languages. One line stood out. Do not open, not even in extinction. Felloc ignored it. Open the hatch, he ordered. His men cut it open with plasma torches. The door fell back, revealing a long dark tunnel. Warm air rushed out. It smelled like oil and blood. Inside. Lights flickered on one by one, showing walls made of black steel, red lights blinking. Then they heard breathing. Not human, not machine, something else. Felloc took one step forward. The ground under him exploded upward. A new machine, massive and covered in bone armor, rose from the dark. It roared an animal sound, then leaped into the soldiers. The cum feed went dead. Orbit, Dominion's hand. Another team gone. Vrel said, his voice cracking. Zyril stayed quiet. He turned and looked at the alien officers standing behind him. I know what you are all thinking, he said. You wonder how a weak species like humans created such machines. You wonder why they hid them. He stepped toward the window and pointed at Earth. Humans, they are different. They don't fight to conquer, they fight to survive. And they are very, very good at surviving. One officer shook his head. But why use these machines now? Why not when we first entered the system? Because they waited, Zyril said. They wanted us to commit, to land, to think we'd already won. Then they woke their monsters. Deep Earth, unknown human bunker lights flickered on in a giant underground control room. Screens showed Zark troop movements, machine activity. Orbiting enemy fleets, one human woman sat in the middle of it all. Her hair was tied back. Her eyes sharp. Dr. Kara Vos, one of the last active commanders of the Black Core network. She tapped a screen. All Phase 2 units awakened. A voice said. Kara nodded. And Phase 3? Incoming in 6 hours. Any survivors from the surface? Minimal. They knew the risk. She stared at the screen showing General Zyril. We told them to stay away. Orbit, Emergency Council Room, Dominion's Handan. Emergency meeting of Zark High Command began. Many officers were now afraid. We should leave the system. No, we must destroy them now. This is suicide. Zyril raised his hand. Silence. He stepped to the middle of the room. There is no retreat. If we run, we lose face. The galaxy watches us. We either crush the humans or we fall. A pause. But, he added, we will not attack like fools. He turned to Vrel. I want to study these machines. Find weaknesses, patterns, anything. And if we don't? Vrel asked. Zero didn't answer, because in his mind, he already knew if they failed, the humans would come next. Earth, machine control zone. The awakened machines now marched in perfect formation. They moved without sound, without confusion. Above them, drones flew. They weren't alien. They were human-made. Watching. Recording. Some machines now had new upgrades, claws from broken Zark suits, shields made from Zark ship armor. They were evolving. And then, they stopped. One of the larger machines stepped forward. Its red core pulsed. A new symbol appeared on its chest. It wasn't human. It wasn't Zark. It was something no alien in the fleet recognized. But one Zark tech on the Dominion's hand gasped when she saw it on a screen. That symbol. It's from the Forbidden's galaxy, from the old war records. What war? Zero asked. The tech whispered. The war we weren't allowed to speak of. The one that destroyed the First Empire. Now, the same symbol burned on Earth's machines. Final scene. Zero alone. The alien general stood in the observation deck, watching Earth slowly rotate. He could feel it. This was not a war. This was a warning, and they had ignored it. Now, the underground had awakened. And humanity was no longer hiding. The sky above Earth remained calm. The stars blinked quietly, but in orbit, aboard the Dominion's hand, everything was falling apart. General Zero stood in the war room, his eyes locked on the glowing red dots flooding Earth's surface. Each dot was a machine. Each dot was death. His invasion force had been cut in half. The rest were hiding or fleeing. The worst part? He still didn't understand what he was fighting. How did the humans build all this without anyone knowing? Zero asked, his voice cold. No one answered. Then a voice came from behind him. We may have something, sir. Commander Vrel stepped forward, carrying a silver data core in his clawed hands. This was recovered from a damaged human bunker in Africa. It's old, buried deep, almost destroyed during our attack, but we managed to extract files from it. What kind of files? Zero asked. Technical records, audio logs, human experiments, and Vrel hesitated. A warning. 1 hour later, secure analysis chamber. The room was dark except for a single screen. The data core was connected. A voice played through the speakers. Human, male, calm, Black Core Protocol, Log Entry 1, Dr. Alan Strickland speaking. If you're hearing this, then either we failed, or you found something you shouldn't have. Zyril and his top officers leaned in. These machines are not weapons of war. They're barriers, cages, guard dogs. We built them to protect the surface from what we buried beneath it. The screen showed old video footage, grainy, flickering images of humans standing in front of massive underground machines. Some were taller than buildings. Others looked like half-living creatures, part flesh, part steel. We made them after first contact, not with aliens but with something ancient. We didn't defeat it. We couldn't, so we locked it away. The voice paused. But the machines changed. They became more than tools. They evolved. We don't fully control them anymore. They choose when to wake up. The officers looked at each other. If they're awake now, it means two things. 1, the enemy has returned. 2, you're already too late. The message ended. Back in the war room, silence. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Vrel said, "They didn't make these machines to fight us. We're just in the way." Zyril clenched his jaw. What is this enemy they talk about? We don't know. No name, no species, no location. All their data calls it the silence below. The silence? Zyril repeated, "Yes." Vrel said, "And there's more." Another file was locked. Deep in the core. We cracked it. What is it? Vrel looked nervous. You should see for yourself. Hidden file. Project Kronos. The screen opened again. A new voice. A woman this time. My name is Kara Vuss, head of Earth's final defense project, Kronos. Images filled the screen. Warships under construction, humans in black suits connecting. Their minds to giant machines, cities turning into fortresses. We knew they would come, not the ancient enemy, but others. Curious species, watching, waiting, planning to take Earth when we're weak. Zyral's face darkened. So we created Kronos. A defense program hidden from even our own governments. Silent, cold, ready. If this system is active, then Earth has declared full Black Core war mode. Vrel's eyes widened. What is that? The voice answered as if hearing him. Black Core war mode activates the last layer of defense. Earth becomes a trap. Our cities, our skies, even our oceans. Everything becomes a weapon, and our machines no longer listen to us. Zyril stepped back. They don't control the machines? No, Vrel said. Not anymore. Earth Zark extraction team, Brazil Captain Drail, led a small recovery team into a half-buried bunker. Inside, they found a human lab destroyed. By time and war, dead bodies, rusted equipment. Then one of his soldiers shouted, "Captain! Found something!" It was a black tablet. Still working. They brought it back to their ship and uploaded the contents. Most of it was corrupted. But one file played. A video. A human soldier stood in front of a massive cage. Inside was a creature unlike anything the Zark had ever seen. It had no form. Its body shifted constantly. Tentacles, claws, spikes, wings, all changing every second. It didn't speak. It just stared with hundreds of glowing eyes. This is Subject Zero, the soldier said in the video. It came from the deep void. No known origin. No known weakness. It speaks in dreams and kills by thought. The video glitched. We couldn't kill it. So we surrounded it with things that could. The screen cut off. Back in Orbitzeral now sat alone in his chamber. He replayed the audio log 3 times. Something was wrong. The humans had not just built weapons. They had built a prison, and now that prison was waking up. He opened a private channel to Vrel. Send a scout probe deep into Earth's crust. Below where the machines are rising. Yes, sir, but it'll take time. Do it. And if we find something? Zyril didn't answer. Because he already knew. 3 hours later, deep Earth probe footage. The probe sent back video. Dark tunnels. Thick walls of old human steel. Symbols carved into them in dozens of alien languages. Warning signs. Then, the camera shook. Massive door came into view. Round, unmarked, quiet. The probe hovered closer. Suddenly, the door pulsed. A single red light blinked on. Then the feed cut. The entire Dominion's handship shuddered. What was that? Someone yelled. Shockwave from Earth. It came from under the surface. No weapon detected. It wasn't a weapon, Vrel said, his voice hollow. It was a heartbeat. Elsewhere, human command bunker Kara Vuss stood over a digital map. The Black Core machines now covered 60% of Earth's landmass. They had dug in, built towers, created new layers of defense. A young officer approached her. Ma'am, the Zark have accessed the Kronos files. She nodded. Good. You wanted them to? Yes, she said calmly. Let them learn the truth. The officer looked confused. But why? They'll run. No, she said. They'll try to fight. And when they do, the machines will test their strength. Why? Kara looked at the screen. The symbol of Kronos glowed red. Because if they can't survive the machines, they'll never survive what's coming. Next, final scene. General Zyril's realization Cyril stood before a screen showing Earth. For the first time, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. He had thought humanity was weak, unready, broken. Now he saw the truth. Humanity had faced monsters before, the kind the galaxy never knew, the kind no army could stop, the kind that lived in darkness. And humanity had survived, not by fighting, but by building monsters of their own. He looked to Vrel and said the words he never thought he would speak. "We are not the invaders. We are the intruders." He turned back to the screen, and now the real monsters are waking up. The skies above Earth were now silent. Alien ships hovered in orbit like vultures afraid to land. On the planet's surface, the machines marched in perfect formation. No human army had been seen, no generals, no fighter jets. Just the machines, cold, deadly, and growing in number. Inside the Dominion's hand, General Zero sat in front of a massive screen, reviewing footage from a lost recon team in South America. The images were shaky, the last moments of one of his elite scouting units. But the final seconds haunted him. The team had entered an underground tunnel beneath the Andes Mountains. They expected to find an abandoned bunker. Instead, they found life. 10 hours earlier, South America Captain Varek of the Zark Recon Squad walked carefully through the tunnel. His 6 soldiers followed close behind, weapons ready. The passage was lit with soft blue lights. The walls were smooth metal, untouched by age or war. Strange symbols glowed across the surface, human writing, but none of them could read it. Double quote, sir, one of the soldiers whispered. This area wasn't on the maps. No signs of human life for miles. Varek held up a hand. Stay alert. The humans have fooled us before. They moved deeper. Then, suddenly, the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber, larger than any they had seen. A city. Living city. Towers of steel and glass rose high into the dark ceiling. Drones buzzed in the air. Lights blinked across the buildings. Walkways floated between structures. Water flowed through glowing blue rivers. But that wasn't the most shocking part. People. Thousands of humans walked through the streets, calm, organized, and completely unafraid. Varek froze. These people, they're alive. They're not hiding. They're living. A child looked at the alien soldiers, then smiled and waved. No fear. No panic. Just a strange, eerie calm. This doesn't make sense. One soldier whispered, they're not running. Another added. And then they saw it. Up on a tower balcony stood a woman in a black suit. Her eyes glowed faintly blue. She raised a hand and pointed. All the drones in the sky turned toward the Zark soldiers. So did the humans. Then the transmission ended. Orbit, Dominion's hand. War Room. Zyril stared at the frozen last image, the smiling human child waving at the camera. These are no survivors, he said quietly. They're soldiers. Commander Vrel nodded slowly. We believe this is one of their hive cities. Zyril turned to him. Explain. Vrel activated a screen showing a human brain scan connected to a glowing machine. We found medical files in the data core. These people aren't normal civilians. They're all neural linked to the Black Core network. That means they can control machines, not one, not two, but entire battalions. Zyril narrowed his eyes. So every man, woman, and child in these cities is a soldier? Yes, sir, silent ones, living batteries for war. And we walked right into their nest. Earth, Hive City 0, Andes Mountains inside the control tower of the underground city. Kara Voss watched as more machines rolled through the steel streets. Her voice echoed through the command hall. Activate neural grid Sector 5. Technicians nodded and flipped switches. Red lines ran across the floor. Lights pulsed. In homes, schools, and towers, humans sat in chairs, their heads linked to small black nodes. One by one, their eyes lit blue. Outside, the war machine stopped marching. Then moved as one. Each step was in perfect sync. The hive had awakened. Kara pressed a button. A map of the planet showed 6 more active hive cities, each one hidden deep underground, each one housing over 1,000,000 humans. The Zark thought they were fighting machines. They were wrong. They were fighting everyone. Orbit's secret Zark intelligence briefing Cyril and his top scientists stood around a table. A massive image of Earth rotated above it. Dr. Zarek, the head of alien research, cleared his throat. We now believe the human surface world was abandoned on purpose. Everything above ground was a decoy. Cyril's eyes narrowed. And the real population? Hidden in hive cities, Zarek said. Deep underground, protected, connected to machines. Their minds operate the Black Core network like a shared brain. A soldier stepped forward. That's why they don't speak. Why they don't scream. They're already inside the fight. Through the machines. Cyril nodded. So, the humans are the machines. Everyone fell silent. Earth. Hive City Omega. Eastern Siberia. A young human named Eli Navarro sat in a dark chamber. Wires connected to his skull. He was only 16, but in the machine network. He was a commander. He controlled 40 Hellburn units on the surface, each the size of a small house. He didn't move. He didn't need to. With just a thought, his machines marched across frozen land and fired plasma bolts into Zark troops trying to regroup. From orbit, it looked like chaos, but to him, it was art. Eli smiled as another enemy tank exploded. Orbit Zark Emergency War Council. This is madness, an officer said. We can't fight an entire species that's controlling war machines from underground cities. Cyril remained calm. We have faced powerful enemies before. Not like this, Vrel cut in. These humans built their entire civilization around defense. They don't want to win. They want to outlast. Dr. Zarek added, this is not a battle of weapons. It's a battle of patience. Endurance, memory, these hive cities. They are the final human evolution, pure survival. A new officer entered. The room panting, Sir. A Zark fleet sent to destroy Hive City in the Australian zone. Failed. No survivors. How many ships? Cyril asked. 20 destroyers, sir. Gone, without a sound. Zero closed his eyes. We can't keep throwing. Fleets at ghosts. Deep Earth, Hive City Council Room. Kara stood before a group of human leaders. An old man spoke. They've discovered 3 of our hives. They won't find the rest, Kara said. And if they try, our children will stop them. Another woman asked, when do we wake the Titan network? Kara didn't answer at first. Then she looked at the map. Not yet. Let them panic first. Let them see what fear feels like. Orbit, Dominion's hand, observation deck. Cyril looked down at Earth. What was once a planet of forests, oceans, and cities now felt like a mouthful of teeth. Each hive city was a fang. Each human, a nerve. Each machine, a bite. He spoke quietly to himself. They didn't prepare to fight. They prepared to consume us. Vrel approached. Sir, should we prepare to retreat? Cyril shook his head. If we leave now, we lose more than a battle. We lose our place in the galaxy. But no, Cyril said. We stay, we learn, we adapt. He turned to the science officer. Prepare a stealth team. I want them inside a hive city. I want a sample of their neural tech. I want to know how they think, how they fight. And if your team doesn't come back? Vrel asked. Cyril didn't hesitate. Then I'll go myself. Final scene, Hive City Alpha, North American side. A chamber of sleeping soldiers. The machines hummed softly. A baby cried. Its mother gently placed a neural band on the infant's head. Baby blinked, and the machines moved faster. Even the newborn was connected. This was no army. This was a hive, and it was just getting started. The stars above the Earth's orbit blinked quietly, but the Dominion's hand felt tense. Outside, hundreds of Zark warships hovered, waiting for orders. They expected the usual fight: enemy ships, explosions, maybe panic. Instead, There was nothing. No signals. No warnings. No attacks. Only silence. General Zyril stood at the command bridge, watching the empty dark space. His fingers tapped nervously on the console. It was a strange calm, too strange. "Commander Vrel," Zyril said, voice low. "Any word from our scout ships?" Vrel's face was pale. "Sir, our drones reported nothing. No life signs. No ships. No weapons." Zyril frowned. "How is that possible? Earth's orbit was crowded with satellites and defense platforms just days ago." "Sir," Vrel said, "they are gone." Orbit, scanning the empty space. The Zark scientists ran scans. Again and again. They searched every inch of Earth's orbit. But no ships appeared. It was like all human fleets vanished overnight. "It's a ghost fleet," one officer whispered. "Ghost fleet?" Zyril repeated, confused. "Ships that hide so well, even our sensors can't find them," the officer explained. "They use technology that bends light and radar waves." Vrel looked grim. "They were waiting, watching us, silent as death." Suddenly, the main screen flashed. A message appeared. Simple, clear, written in broken Zark language. "You should not have come." The calm before the storm, the message repeated on every communication channel in the Zark fleet. Zyril's voice was cold. "Who sent that message?" Vrel's fingers flew across the console. "No known source, sir. Could be a human warship or a hive city." Zyril clenched his fists. "Prepare for battle stations. I want all ships ready to engage." As alarms rang, the fleet's weapons powered up. But then, nothing. No attack came. The silence stretched for minutes. Suddenly, small blips appeared on the radar. They grew larger, faster. Hundreds of ships, human warships, appeared from nowhere. The ghost ships. The ships were unlike any the Zark had seen. Sleek, black, almost invisible. Their shapes changed with light. They glided silently toward the Zark fleet. Vrel shouted, "Sir, they are attacking." The Zark fired first. Lasers and plasma bolts flew through space. But the human ships vanished, dodging every shot. Then they struck back. In seconds, several Zark destroyers exploded. The battle was fierce, but uneven. The human ships attacked with perfect precision. Their weapons were silent, but deadly. Zark ships fell one by one. Inside a human warship, Captain Ilara stood calmly on the bridge of the Shadowlands. One of the ghost ships, her eyes were cold, focused. "Target the enemy flagship," she said. "Sir, they are heavily shielded." Her first officer replied. "Shields can break," Ilara said. "We have waited long enough. The time for hiding is over." The Shadowlance fired a silent pulse, a weapon that disabled enemy shields instantly. Zyril's flagship trembled. Back to the Dominion's hand, the fleet was losing ships rapidly. "Sir, the entire 4th Squadron has been destroyed," a young officer reported. Zyril's face hardened. "We must retreat." "No," he said firmly. "We hold the line." He turned to Vrel. "Send a message to all surviving ships. Regroup at coordinates Theta 9, Earth Human Command Center, Garavos. Watch the battle from a huge screen." She smiled. "We prepared the ghost fleets for this moment," she said softly. An aide approached. "The aliens are retreating." Kara nodded. "Good, let them run. They won't get far." The Zark fleet began moving toward Theta-9. Unknown to them, they were entering a deadly trap. Deep in space, massive human orbital stations activated. Energy beams flared. They struck the fleet's path. Zark ships exploded in waves. Zyril shouted, "Break formation! Scatter!" But the trap closed fast. Desperate Mezeres, Cyril, ordered his ships to jump to hyperspace, but the humans used technology that blocked the jumps. The fleet was trapped. "We need backup." Zyril barked. "No backup is coming," Vrel said quietly. "Earth controls this space. We are surrounded." Zyril felt a cold wave of dread. Last stand, the remaining Zark. Ships gathered around the Dominion's hand. Zeril knew this would be their last battle. Prepare for final assault. He ordered. The human ghost ships returned. They attacked without mercy. Aftermath hours later, the battlefield was silent. Only debris and burning ships floated in space. Zyril sat alone in his command room. The truth was clear. Humanity was not weak. They were ghosts, hunters, and monsters. Final words Zyril whispered to himself. They warned us. We did not listen. Now, we face the real war. The black void of space was full of wreckage. Broken ships floated silently in the cold dark. The Zark fleet had been broken, scattered, and hunted like prey. General Zyril stood in the command room of the Dominion's hand, the last surviving flagship. His face was tired, eyes heavy with the weight of defeat. The ghosts of the battle still haunted him. Outside the massive windows, Earth shone brightly, a blue jewel untouched by the war raging above. Zyril whispered, "This is their home. Their battlefield, not ours." The aftermath the Zark fleet had lost over 70% of its ships. Many soldiers were dead or captured. The survivors hid in asteroid belts, deep space, anywhere they could avoid the humans. Zyril called an emergency meeting. "Listen carefully," he said. "The humans don't fight like us. They don't charge into battle. They wait, they strike, they disappear. We cannot win by force." His officers were silent. "We must learn their ways," he continued. "We must find their weakness." Secret Mission Cyril chose a small team for a risky task. "We will send an elite group to infiltrate a hive city," he ordered. Commander Vrel nodded. "We have technology that might help." "We have no choice," Zyril said. "If we fail, this could be the end for the Dominion." The infiltration, the team of 10 soldiers entered Earth's atmosphere in a stealth shuttle. Their destination, Hive City Gamma, deep beneath the Sahara Desert. The city was hidden beneath kilometers of sand and rock. The shuttle landed quietly in a cave. Entrance. Captain Drell led the team inside. The air was cool. The walls glowed faint blue. The silence was heavy. Suddenly, the neural grid activated. Inside the hive, humans, connected to machines, moved through the city like ghosts. They didn't speak. They didn't fight. But their minds were sharp and deadly. Drell's team struggled to stay hidden. They saw the humans controlling war machines with simple thoughts. They saw factories building new weapons. And then, they reached the central core, the heart of the hive. The core was a giant machine, alive and pulsing with energy. It was connected to every part of the city, to every human mind. Drell tried to hack the core. Suddenly, alarms blared. The hive woke. Fight for survival. Machines and humans attacked Drell's team. The Zark fought desperately. They were outnumbered and outmatched did. But Drell had one plan left. He detonated an EMP bomb. The hive went dark. Escape and discovery. The team escaped in the shuttle. But the mission changed everything. They brought back data showing how humans controlled machines through the neural grid, and a warning. The hive cities were only part of the defense. The real weapon was still hidden. Zyril's decision back on the Dominion's hand. Zyril studied the new data. He knew the war was far from over. He said quietly, "We must find this weapon." His officers looked at him with fear. "This will decide the fate of our species." Final scene. Earth rotated peacefully below, but deep underground, the hive cities prepared. The machines and humans waited. The silent war was just beginning. It began with silence. No alarms, no gunfire, no warning. Then one by one, Zark ships in deep orbit shut down, engines offline, weapons frozen, communications gone. Inside the Dominion's hand, General Zyril stood frozen, watching every light. On his command board blinked red. Vrel ran diagnostics. "This isn't an attack. It's a message." "What kind of message?" Zyril asked, voice cold. Vrel slowly turned toward him. The humans just activated. Final protocol. 3 days earlier, deep Earth core inside Hive City Alpha. Karavos stood before the Titan. Control panel. Around her, 10 other commanders had gathered. Their faces were calm, their eyes glowing faintly blue. The Zark are not retreating. One said, they keep sending scouts. Testing our defenses. They will not stop until they believe we are gods, or until they are gone. Kara nodded. Then it's time. She placed her hand on the panel. Final protocol unlocked. What is final protocol? General Zeril read the decrypted files with a shaking hand. The data revealed Earth's last secret, the Titans, Titan-class machines, buried miles beneath Earth, built not for war, but for extinction. Each Titan was over 300 meters tall. Each one powered by human neural networks. Each one connected to old black core systems, half machine, half something else. Something living. And now they were waking up. Orbit, Zark panic. Sir, a young tech shouted. Something massive is rising from Earth's crust. On the screens, Earth's surface cracked. From oceans, deserts, and frozen tundras, giants emerged. Titan units. One rose from the Arctic, its body covered in ice and steel. One step from the Amazon, trees falling as it moved. Another pushed upward from the Pacific, water boiling around its glowing core. They didn't speak, they just looked up. Straight at the Zark fleet. The Titans walk. Each Titan walked slowly, calmly, like gods taking their first steps. Zark weapons fired, lasers, plasma, nukes. Nothing stopped them. A single Titan raised its arm. It pointed to the sky, then fired a beam so powerful it cut through a destroyer like butter. Another Titan leapt into the air, flying with gravity, engines, and crashed into a warcruiser. Explosions lit up the black sky. Humanity's final Via Punxeral watched in horror. These are not machines, he whispered. They are monsters. Vrel replied, they are machines made by humans, but with minds built from something older. Something darker. Zyril stared. They never meant to fight us with armies. These Titans were made to destroy invaders completely. Vrel nodded. And to remind the galaxy, Earth is not to be touched. Desperate counterattack. The remaining Zark ships formed a last line. They launched everything. Missiles, fusion bombs, black hole, weapons. The Titans kept walking. They weren't just fighting. They were learning, adapting, and worse, evolving. One Titan's arms changed shape, mid-battle transforming into whip-like weapons. Another grew wings of plasma and light. Zyril turned to his crew. Retreat, now. But sir, that's not a planet anymore. That's a living trap. Earth's signal back in Hive City Omega. Karavos sent a final message to the galaxy. It was short and terrifying. We asked for peace. You brought war. Now, you will remember us. Earth is not prey. Earth is the warning. The escape. The last Zark ships jumped to hyperspace. Only 7 survived out of over 400. Inside the Dominion's hand, Zeril sat alone. He looked at the final message again, then whispered, monsters don't live on Earth. They are Earth. Epilogue. Far future centuries later, in another part of the galaxy, children would whisper stories about a blue world, beautiful, deadly, Achaea. Place no fleet ever returned from, a place protected by Titans. And the terrifying minds of a united silent species, humans.